Just want to get a couple thoughts before I start fielding questions. First of all, it was a long and thorough process when we found all our assistant coaches. But the thing that we were looking for with these guys was, first of all, just being excellent communicators, passionate about the game of football, and above all, I would say just being high character individuals. That was what really is most important to me, because I think that's what you win. You win with people. So got a lot of thanks to go through real quick. First of all, Mark Murphy, Goody, Ed Policy, Russ Ball, so supportive throughout this whole process. And then just some of the support staff, Lisa Wegge, Daryl Franklin, Doug Collins, Matt Klein, Linda Newhalls, and then Jason and his staff. So with all these people, they worked a lot of hours, and like Ed and Russ, there were a lot of times that we were hiring guys on the weekends, and so I just can't thank them enough for their support, and really excited about the group of guys that we were to hire here. So with that being said, we can open up to questions.
Why was it important to you to keep Mike on staff as your defensive coordinator, and what type of things does that having that familiarity open up for you on the offensive side?
Yeah, I think with just when you look at Mike Pettin, there's been a history. I've gone against his defenses before. I think they present a lot of challenges for offenses. And then the fact that he's been a head coach and has sat in this seat, it really affords you an opportunity to bounce ideas off of him. My brother worked for him in Cleveland, has a lot of respect for him, and just the guys I trust in this business all have great things to say about Mike Pettin. And I just think that continuity going into year two for the defense is going to be critical, because I think you'll see there's always a learning curve in year one, and just I'm excited to see what the defense can do in year two moving forward.
Can you talk about how you're aligned with Nathaniel philosophically on offense?
Yeah, I think we come from similar background. I mean, I know it's kind of cliche, because I don't even know what the West Coast is anymore, but he's a guy that I've gotten to know over the years throughout the combine. As a matter of fact, when we were both quarterback coaches, we'd sit down a lot of times and interview quarterbacks. So certainly there was a comfort factor. I know what he's all about as a man. And again, it comes back to being a high character individual. I thought what he did in Jacksonville was really impressive. Despite what happened this past season, 2 years ago, I mean, they were just fell short of a Super Bowl. So, he is one of the more organized guys I've ever been around, and that was evident when I interviewed him, because, just because I had a relationship with him, you don't really know until you work with somebody. So absolutely put him through the ringer on the interview, and I thought he did a great job, and I think he's going to add a lot of value to us.
Matt, when you were looking at a position coach, a quarterback's coach, did you want someone that at least was familiar with Aaron, even though he didn't necessarily work with him directly? And what did you like about Luke in that regard?
Yeah, that wasn't. It didn't have to be a guy that necessarily worked with Aaron. Certainly, we're going to try to find the best quarterback coach out there. Some things that I really did like about Luke is the fact that he played quarterback in college. Certainly, I reached out not only to Aaron but a couple other guys with him, being in the building before, just to find out what they thought of him as a man and as a coach. And, everybody gave him a thumbs up. So he came in here. I thought he did a great job on the interview. And again, you get to know guys a little bit throughout, going to the combine and whatnot in our profession. And he's always been a guy that I've had a lot of respect for.
Matt, when you were hired that month ago, you talked about the relationship with Aaron, and you're going to be involved with that. So how does it look between you, Nathaniel, and Luke working with Aaron?
Yeah, I think it's great. We've got 3 quarterback guys that are going to be hitting them from all angles. But no, I'm gonna do my part. I know I need to be in that room, especially as much as I possibly can, because I am going to be the play caller. I think that relationship between the play caller and the quarterback is absolutely critical. So I will be in there as much as I can. I don't foresee ever missing a quarterback meeting.
And you had a chance to get an idea of what that time might look like now that you're learning all the other things that are involved in being a head coach and, pulling you in different directions.
Yeah, you get pulled a little bit more than you like, certainly. But the fun stuff is starting right now because we've been spending our afternoons doing all football, and that's really why you get into this business. So just going through, been coaching the coaches at this point.
Matt, who are you gonna lean on for head coaching stuff you haven't been involved in before? When you need some kind of advice, when you need to know the lay of the land.
Yeah, well, first one that's in the building is Mike Pettin. Just like I said, he's sat in this seat. But I've got a lot of friends that are head coaches right now, and that's what's so cool, for me to see guys like Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Dan Quinn, Mike Vrabel. Those are four guys that I know I can pick up the phone at any time and bounce something off of.
Did you think about bringing in a voice that had been a head coach on the offensive side of the ball, like a senior offensive assistant or anything like that?
To be honest with you, that was not really part of my thought process. If it would have happened, then that would have been great. It just, just when we assembled the staff, and we tried to assemble it from the top down. It never shook out that way.
What stuck out with Sean, and maybe then going down from him, how you wanted to build out the special teams staff? Because I know even one of your QC guys has special teams coordinator experience.
Yeah, again, we vetted a lot of special teams coordinators. Some guys that had, experience in this league as the special teams coordinator. I like the fact that Sean had spent so many years with Chris Tabor, who I think is one of the better ones in this league. Was really interested in getting that scheme as a part of what we do. I thought just some of the things that I was looking for with that position is somebody that's obviously, you got to have the knowledge base, but it's about the just some juice, some enthusiasm, and I thought that he did a great job. He knocked the interview out, and just a guy that we're really excited to work with. And then with Mo Drayton, I feel like he is a special teams coordinator in the making. I don't think it's going to be too long before he gets, to run that room, and then Renee Stewart. So I feel really confident that we have three high-quality coaches in that regards, because there's one thing that is so important to me. It's not about offense and defense. It's about offense, defense, and special teams, and that's going to be a big emphasis for us moving forward.
You've hired a lot of young coaches. In a lot of cases, some of those guys are pretty inexperienced. Think about your tight ends coach, for instance. What was it thinking about putting together such a young staff?
Well, when you look at Justin Outen, first of all, I have experience with him in Atlanta. He's been he was a high school coach up to that point for years. So, yeah, in terms of the NFL game, maybe not. He maybe doesn't have all the experience that on paper, but I was very impressed with him 2 years ago when I worked with him in Atlanta, and I think that he had so much value because the way I see it now, we have three quality offensive line coaches, and we're going to meet so much with our skill positions, with quarterbacks, receivers, tight ends, and running backs all in the same room, and which I'll lead most of that teaching. So that was not a concern for me. It was more or less I just wanted to get somebody else in here that had been with our scheme to really get our run game going, and I thought he could add a lot of value in that regard.
There's a reaction to say, oh, look how young they are, right? You're young, the whole staff is young. What are the benefits of having?
I think we're going to bring a lot of energy every day, and I think we'll be able to connect and reach our players, and that's what I'm most excited about. I think they're all great, high-character guys. You're going to get to know these guys. You will not see egos, and these guys are going to roll up their sleeves and get to work, and I think our players will appreciate that, and they'll be excited with when they get to meet these guys moving forward.
Last one, guys. What
behind your decision to reshuffle the strength and conditioning staff, and are you expecting a new approach with that regard?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. So I think, when I've spent a lot of time with those guys over the last couple of weeks. It took me a little bit longer to get to that because it took a while for us to really complete our staff. But I think this kind of speaks to the type of person that Mark Lavada is, because I hadn't really thought about that until he brought it up to me. And so he's a selfless individual that he suggested that. And then that's when I really started to think about it. I talked to him, I talked to Giz, and that was just something that we thought going forward was going to make the most impact within our organization, because that is a critical hire. You talk about the guys that are going to talk to the team the most. It's going to be myself, it's going to be the special teams coordinator, and it's going to be the strength coach. So those three positions are absolutely critical to our success moving forward.